really bright. I want you to imagine for a second that you were asked to attack a great city, but you weren't given your army or any sort of military, you were given your high school marching band. Now, if it was anything like my high school marching band, I wasn't in a high school marching band, by the way, that would be a big issue. You'd probably lose very quickly. This is more or less the story of Joshua and the Battle of Jericho. The Lord commanded Joshua to take the city of Jericho, and the city of Jericho was behind massive walls that had never been penetrated. And the Lord didn't command Joshua to do this using any normal military strategy. He commanded Joshua, and he made a promise to Joshua, that if he'd take his men and march around the city for 7 days, blowing their trumpets, that the walls would fall flat. Joshua was obedient, and he began to march. Day after day he marched. And on the 7th day, when he blew his horn and his men blew their horns, the wall fell flat. Now I want to ask a question. If Joshua would have stopped on the 5th day, do you think the walls would have came down? Or on the 6th day? They wouldn't have. Joshua had to march for 7 days. That's what the Lord promised. And it would have been really easy to give up on day 5 or day 6, because you're marching around the wall, you're looking at it, and you're like, these walls aren't budging. And all we have are our trumpets. But he just kept on going, because Joshua knew a truth. He knew that the blessings in our lives are never in front of the walls, they're always behind the walls, and we have to keep on marching. The blessings in your life are at the results of consequences. Unfortunately, most of us stop on day 5 or day 6, and we never have an opportunity to see those walls come down. So that's my job tonight. That brings me to my point, is to persuade you to keep on marching, because you have blessings waiting for you behind the walls. Now, believe it or not, about 30 pounds ago, I was a personal trainer. I got married, went to school, and that kind of sidetracked me a little bit. But one of my favorite parts of being a personal trainer was that I was able to see people succeed. I was also able to see a lot of people give up. But I loved watching people go through pain. And it's kind of it sounds maybe sick or something, but I loved it because I saw them sweat, I saw them struggle, and I knew that they were going further than they ever had gone before. And as a result, they were going to see something in themselves that they'd never seen before. Arnold Schwarzenegger talked about this. He said the last 3 or 4 reps is what makes the muscle grow. This is the area of pain that divides a champion from someone else who is not a champion. That's what most people lack, the guts to go on and just say they'll go through the pain no matter what happens. Arnold Schwarzenegger was talking about lifting weights, but it can be applied to every aspect of our life. Often in life, we get to a hard part where we start to struggle, and we decide to give up or go back to what's comfortable because it's difficult. J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, was denied 9 times before the manuscript was actually accepted. Imagine she gave up on the 5th or the 6th rejection letter. Now, I want to share a couple other little facts with you about giving up. So most of us are going to have a New Year's resolution, and 88% of us will give up on it. So 88% of us won't lose the weight that we want to. We won't finish reading our scriptures. We're just going to give up. 12% of us will keep on marching. And most of us that want to graduate, nearly half of us won't. Most of us are going to give up. Now, like I said, my job today is to persuade you not to give up, because giving up typically leads to regret. President Monson said, "Of the words of tongue and pen, the saddest are these, it might have been." And as members of the church, we can have a firm testimony that there's divine help waiting for us. We can know that God is there to help us and assist us. Think about Moses when he went to the Red Sea. He had his whole group following him. They got to the Red Sea, and it had to be very discouraging for him to see that massive body of water. And there was no logical way to get around it. But Moses, he had the faith, and he just kept on marching, and he said to himself, we can do this. The former president of BYU, Jeffrey R. Holland, he talked about this. He said, nobody had ever crossed the Red Sea that way. But so what? There's a first time for everything. With the spirit of revelation, wade in with both feet. In the words of Joseph Smith, shall we not go on in such a great cause, brethren? Go forward, not backward, and onward to the victory. We may not have to part the Red Sea in our lifetime, but each of us have our own walls of Jericho. We're marching around something that may not seem easy. We're marching. It could be your thesis paper. It could be reading the scriptures. It could be staying awake during this showcase. There's several things that you could be trying to march around. And my plea with you is not to give up, because there are blessings waiting for you that greater than you can ever imagine just beyond the walls. You have to wait. You have to endure it, because you could be on the eve of the 6th day, and tomorrow morning the sun will rise, the wall will fall flat, and you'll receive your blessing. Thank you.